तव कथामृतम् तप्तजीवनम् कविभिरीडितम् कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततम् भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः।
ॐ तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः. We are studying the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and we are in the midst of conversations of 5th October 1884. And we were reading about the different signs on a man's body by which one can understand whether the man can attain spirituality or not. So we continue with that. We don't want to miss some parts of it. We go back to that para, Master to M and the others. Master to M and the others. Where is that? Oh, those sadhus and all that is gone, huh? Ambeda. Vijay Sasudi told me Hari, the relative. Acha. Then here. Small subheading in Bengali, page 628. Thakur Sri Ramakrishna or Deher Lakhan. Mahesh Narayan. Mahesh Nyay Ratner Chhatra. Okay. So we are going back there. The English is 597. Master to M and the others. Whether a person will make spiritual progress or not can be known to a great extent by his physical marks. We offer some remarks here. Each soul is potentially divine. There is no doubt about it. And this divine is trying to manifest itself against suppression by so many factors of nature. Now, there is another state in human life. Divinity is potential, all right. But whether in this life the divinity will manifest or not, this is the point Thakur is telling. So there may be potential divinity, and yet it may not manifest in this life. So many millions of people are there, and as the Gita tells us that among thousands of people, somebody tries to attain spirituality. So there is an evolution within the human species. So now that point from where man can progress spiritual or not, that point Thakur says, so we understood now, Ishwar may be potentially divine, but does not necessarily mean that in this life that divinity will manifest. So, as per the Gita, the man does not feel desire even to. And suppose he may feel a desire, but it will not be qualified. So, that stage Thakur is talking about. Whether a person will make spiritual progress or not, and in this life, can be known to a great extent by his physical mark. The hand of a deceitful person is heavy, that from elbow to hand master used to weigh. And if it is heavy, the person is deceitful. A snub nose is not a good sign. Shambhu had that kind of nose. Hence, he was not quite sincere in spite of all his wisdom. Pigeon breast is not a good sign either. Hard bones and heavy elbow joints are bad signs too. And yellow eyes like a cat's. A man becomes very mean if he has lips that are thick like a dome's. Now, dome means what is otherwise known as a chandala, the workers of the cremation ground. That caste or those people are called domes. So, dome is a word in some languages. Some other languages call it chandal or maybe pariya. So that those people have very thick lips. So if a person, not dome, a person has thick lips like the domes, then the man becomes very mean. The man is mean if his lips are thick. A Brahmin was here for a few months, so he is showing the example of a Brahmin, acting as priest of the Vishnu temple. I couldn't eat the food he touched. One day I suddenly exclaimed, he is a dome. He was a Brahmin, but Thakur suddenly expressed, he is a dome. Afterwards he said to me, yes sir, we live in the dome quarters. So might be living as a Brahmin, but they lived in dome quarters. Does not mean that the effect of domes have come upon him, but the lips were thick. I know that man is telling him, I know how to make wicker baskets and such things just like a dome. So there are many other qualities in him which are like the dome, some merits also like the dome, and so though he is apparently a Brahmin, but the spiritual wise he is a dome. Lips are thick. There are other bad physical signs. One eye and squint eye. It is rather better to have one eye, but never squint eyes. Squint-eyed people are wicked and deceitful. Can you find exception? The great Saradananda Swami, if you see any photo of his, you will see the eyes are squint. And yet, he was one of the greatest spiritual stalwarts in the Ramakrishna Mission. So we may add, there are exceptions to everything. A student of Mahesh Nayaratna came here. He described himself as an atheist. He said to Hriday, I am an atheist. You may take up the position of a believer in God and argue with me. Thereupon I watched him closely and noticed that his eyes were yellow like a cat's. So that symptom. So he's an atheist. Because if the eyes are like a cat, it's a bad sign. Whether a person is good or bad can also be known from the way he walks. So, physiognomy and actual anatomy and physiology, that means walking also an action, there also one can find out. And there he has not described what the difference are. Sri Ramakrishna faced the veranda. There is one more para in Bengali. Should I tell about it? In English, many things are omitted for decency. What will the foreigners think? What will be the English knowing people think? So certain things are missed, that is a different thing. But certain things are omitted deliberately. I think it is better that let everybody listen to it. What harm is there when Thakur has said, talked about it? পুরুষাঙ্গের উপর চামড়াটি মুসলমানদের মতো যদি কাটা হয় সে একটি খারাপ লক্ষণ। মাস্টার বলতেন হাস্য, মাস্টারকে সাহায্য, তুমি ওটা দেখো, ও খারাপ লক্ষণ, সেকেলের হাস্য। So people laughed about it. You know, the Mohammedans have a ritual called Sunta, and those who undergo the ritual are called Sunnis. The penis, the genetic part of man, the skin there, they cut a little. They have that ritual. So, suppose there is a Hindu, but his skin is cut like the Mohammedan, then it is not then that is a bad sign. Now, because this is a little peculiar thing, people laugh. But Thakur tells Master Mashaya, you should see that. Because it is a bad sign. Then everybody laughs. That has been omitted. From here now, we read again. Sri Ramakrishna paced the veranda. M and Baburam walked with him. Hazra was sitting in the veranda. So Master to Hazra, a man came here. I saw that his eyes were like a cat's. He asked me, do you know astrology? I am in some difficulty. I said, no, I don't. Go to Varanagar. There you will find astrologers. So that about bad sign itself, it has continued. Baburam and M talked about Nilkanta's theatrical performance. When was it held? Early morning. Something like maybe from midnight onwards. We met with a sentence about 2-3 pages back. Today, I went to the village to see Nilkanta's theatrical performance. It was given at Navin Niyogi's house. So about that, they are talking. Baburam then talked about Nilkanta's theatrical performance. Baburam had spent the previous night at the temple garden, that is on the 4th October, after his return from Navin Sen's house. So, two Navins are there. Navin Sen is Keshav's brother, and Navin Niyogi lives in Dakshineshwar, and in his house Nilkanta had performed. And that previous night, Baburam had spent there. In the morning, he had attended Nilkanta's performance with the master. So morning we must understand here early morning, very early in the morning. Master, to M and Baburam, what are you talking about, M and Baburam? About Nilkanta's performance. So M had also attended. While facing the veranda, Sri Ramakrishna suddenly took him aside and said, the less people know about your thoughts of God, the better for you. So perhaps because he was talking with Baburam, Master did not want that he should divulge everything to Baburam. Though both are spiritual, both are friends, both are Thakur devotees, and yet this is a hint he gives to Master by taking him aside. Saying these words, the Master abruptly went away. A short time afterwards, he began to talk with Hadra. So he did not want Baburam to hear this. So he took Master aside, talked and went away. Then came back. Hadra, Nilkanta told you he would pay you a visit. It should be good to send for him. Master, no. He didn't sleep at all last night. It will be different if he comes here through the will of God. You understand this point? Anyway, I don't want to be personal every time. In Nagpur Ashram, some crisis had developed. One Swami had abruptly gone away to Belur Math. That Swami was doing puja in those days. Now, other Swami, veteran Swami, was doing accounts. And he was expert in puja. So automatically, puja went to him. And he had to work both puja and accounts. And then account, puja is a full-time work. So somebody else should take the accounts. That was the situation. And there were talks and discussions and no solution for about 7 days. I went to my Guruji and said, is it not the obvious solution that the accountant Swami should be engaged in puja, full-time puja? And somebody else should. Then my Guruji asked me, but who will do the accounts? And then I said, I had so many other works with me, so many. Then I said, I can handle the accounts. Then my Guruji said, okay, immediately, from now you do the accounts. I was a little upset. I told him, last 7 days the discussions are going on. Why you did not tell me straight away, you do the accounts? He said, how could I tell you? You had so many other activities. But when you are asking yourself, I am saying yes. Understood? The same situation here. So I remember this So that is the way of Mahapurusha. You understand? It is not politics, it is not diplomacy. If the person wants to take up himself, then he will manage. But to assign that work to him, to add a load on him, how it is possible? Same situation is here. Nilkant has not slept in the night. Thakur knows that. And so Thakur cannot call him now. But if he automatically comes, that is how Thakur describes it. If he comes by mother's will, that means without being called, then it is a different thing. You understand? That is the delicate way in which the great people's mind works. So it has clicked something in my mind, and so I told you so many personal things. Sri Ramakrishna asked Baburam to visit Narayan at his house. He looked on Narayan as God himself, and so he longed to see him. The master said to Baburam, "You may go to him with one of your English textbooks." You understand this point? So for the sake of God, little apparent. This is not deceit. Now, Narayan's house people are angry if somebody comes and talks about God. Now, if Baburam goes with the English book, they may think that his classmate, they want to study together, and they will not follow you to what you are talking about. So this apparently a deceit, but the only intention is that they could talk of God without being disturbed by the house people of Narayan. So you understand this? It is, you may call it intelligence, you may call it shrewdness, but it is not deceit. So you may go to him with one of your English textbooks. About 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Sri Ramakrishna was sitting in his room. Nilkantha arrived with 5 or 6 of his companions. The master went toward the east door as if to welcome him. The musicians bowed before the master, touching the ground with their foreheads. Sri Ramakrishna went into samadhi. Because Nilkantha had sung beautiful songs related to God, so seeing Nilkantha, he went into samadhi. That is the association quick which works in the mind. This is the person who sings of God. And so Thakur started thinking of God and went into samadhi. Today, the same disturbance like yesterday is happening. But please be patient, we shall continue. Baburam stood behind him to support him if he loses his balance. M. Nilkantha and the musicians were in front of him, watching him in great amazement. Dinanath, an officer of the temple, looked on from the north side of the bed. Dinanath was a useful person to Thakur. Soon the room was filled with officers of the temple garden. All are interested in listening to Nilkant's music. Sri Ramakrishna's ecstasy abated a little. He seated himself on a mat on the floor surrounded by Nilkant and the other devotees. He did not have to sit on his cot. He felt so friendly with Nilkant. Master, still in an ecstatic mood, I am all right. That used to say, to regain the normal consciousness, he is telling himself and the others, don't worry, I am all right. Nilkant with folded hands, make me all right too. Nilkant has understood that Thakur's all rightness means being intoxicated with God. So he says, make me all right too. Nilkant is a good devotee. Master smiling. Why, you are already all right? Adding the letter A to K, one gets Ka. Adding another A to Ka, one will get the same Ka or La. Now this is about the Sanskrit alphabet. Many Indian languages alphabet. I think one day I made a lot of discussion on the different languages in India. K. In English, if you write only K, it will become Ka. No pronunciation. Ak. And if you add A, unless you add a vowel, then it stands. It becomes Ka. Now, the dirgha of this, or add another A, then it becomes A. Now let me mention here, the Tamil people, they pronounce A itself as A. And what happens to A? A. You might have heard, I'm not criticizing about these types. Ramakrishna. So, Thakur is telling from Sanskrit point of view. So, you see, once it so happened, one great Swami had come. Now, Vidarbha, that eastern part of Maharashtra, in which Nagpur is there. So the one great Swami, I won't name, he said Vidarbha, because A is added at the end. Our Shivatattvananji said, Maharaj, it is not Vidarbha, it is Vidarbha. And the discussion went on. Unnecessary. He said, if you remove A, it will be Vidarbha. If you remove A, it will be Vidarbha. If you add A, it will be Vidarbha. Now what we can do? English language has a poor letters, 26. And the Sanskrit has 50 or 52. How they can fit here? That is the problem. Now, we Indians belonging to different languages try to understand things in English. And there lies this difficulty. I'm not commenting on so many things. But this Ka, because it has come here, Ka, A, Ka. And Ka, A, Ka. That is what Thakur is telling. You are all right. You said you make me all right. So what can I add there to make all right? You are a devotee. You are singing of God. So you are all right. Nilkanta, revered sir, I am entangled in worldliness. So he knows his defect and he wants to come out of that. And so he said, make me all right. Make me little intoxicated with God like you. And though Thakur assuaged him, he comes out with his defect. Master smiling. God has kept you in the world for the sake of others. So God puts some bondage on some people so that they become helpful in God's work. Nilkant has to sing and awaken many people's devotion. For that, he has to be entangled in the world to some extent. Suppose he is free of the world, he will not care, he will go away. There are 8 fetters. One cannot get rid of them all. God keeps 1 or 2 so that a man may live in the world and teach others. You have organized this theatrical company. How many people are being benefited by seeing your bhakti? If you give up everything, then where will these musicians go? Other musicians. They want a leader. People want to listen. God is now doing all these works through you. So the attitude or spirit should be changed. You don't think you are entangled in the world. You should see God is doing these things to you. Wonderful. When they are finished, you will not return to them. So the time will come when you will finish that and then go away. Example, Bengali typical example. The housewife finishes her household duties, feeds everyone, including the men servants and maid servants, and then goes to take her bath. She doesn't come back then, even if people shout for her. So, after doing all work, she goes to take bath, then she will come back and take her food. That is the system in Bengal. Nilkant, please bless me. That means you have told me certain things, but I should be able to do that. Master, Yashoda went mad with grief because she was separated from Krishna. She went to Radhika, who was meditating. Radhika said to her in an ecstatic state, I am the ultimate Prakriti, the primal power. Ask a boon of me. Yashoda said to her, what shall I ask of you? Please bless me that with all my body, mind and speech, I may think of God and serve Him. That with my ears, I may hear the singing of God's name and glories. That with my hands, I may serve Hari and His devotees. That with my eyes, I may behold His form and His devotees. So, that is a very good state when every part of your body is engaged in God. And that is what Yashoda asked. So, you go on singing and thinking that God is doing through you. Your eyes fill with tears when you utter the name of God. Why then should you worry about anything? Divine love has grown in you. Thakur is showing his positive side. To know many things is jnana, ignorance. To know only one thing is jnana. Many things, not real. One thing appearing as many, real. So, knowing one thing, even while seeing many things, is knowledge. Knowledge, the realization that God alone is real and that He dwells in all. And to talk to Him is Vijnana. If you develop intimacy with God, that is Vijnana, a fuller knowledge. To love God in different ways after realizing Him is Vijnana. After realizing Him, after Nirvikalpa Samadhi, you come down and have intimate relationship with God. That is Vijnana. It is also said that God is beyond 1 and 2, because to count 1, you have to have an idea of 2. He is beyond speech and mind. You cannot say it's one. You cannot talk anything about him. He is beyond speech and mind. To go up from the Leela to the Nitya and come down again from the Nitya to the Leela is mature bhakti. Only rare people can attain, but that is the ideal. And Thakur again and again described that. This is something new, not found in Shankara's works. So people get disturbed because they become addicted to Shankara's emphasis on Nirguna. Thakur accepts Nirguna as the basis of further Vijnana. You realize God in Nirvikala Samadhi, not keeping your identity separate, but then you get a separate identity with intimacy with God. So you are not separate. That is called mature bhakti. Leela means many, one appearing as many. Nitya means the one. So, Leela to Nitya, Nitya to Leela. I love that song of yours about aspiring to reach the lotus feet of the Divine Mother. It is enough to know that everything depends on the grace of God. But one must pray to God. It will not do to remain inactive. So, grace of God, it will come, does not mean you have to remain inactive. This is the harmony Thakur is prescribing. From your side, what we should do? Attempt to realize God. How it will happen? By His grace. But that does not mean you are not doing anything. The lawyer gives all the arguments and finishes his pleading by saying to the judge, I have said all I have to say. Now the decision rests with your honor. Everything becomes an example for that. What happens in the law court? If the lawyer keeps quiet and says you decide, that will not do. He has to present his case and to tell that decision is in your hands. After a few minutes, Sri Ramakrishna said to Nilkantha, you sang so much in the morning and now you have taken the trouble to come here, but here everything is honorary. There you got paid for your singing. Here I won't give you anything. Nilkantha, why so? He is going to tell that to sing before you is my prize. Master smiling, I know what you will say. Nilkantha, I shall get a precious gem from here. Master, you already have that precious gem. What will you gain by adding again the same thing? The letter to ka. If you didn't have the gem, should I like your song so much? So precious gem is bhakti. And because of his bhakti, his songs are sweet to Thakur, not otherwise. Only expert singer would not please Thakur. Ram Prasad had attained divine realization. That is why his songs appeal so much. So it is not only the songs, but the experience behind the songs that appeals. I had already planned to hear your music. Later on, Niyogi too came here to invite me. So he would have gone without invitation also. The master was sitting on this small coach. So now he has got up and sat on this small coach. He told Nilkantha that he would like to hear a song or two about the Divine Mother. Nilkantha sang 2 songs with his companions. When the master heard the second song, he stood up and went into Samadhi. Presently he began to dance in an ecstasy of divine love. Nilkanta and the devotees sang and danced around him. Then Nilkanta sang a song about Shiva and the master danced with the devotees. When the singing was over, Sri Ramakrishna said to Nilkanta, I should like to hear that song of yours I heard in Calcutta. About Sri Gauranga? Master, yes, yes. Nilkanta sang the song. The beautiful Gauranga, the youthful dancer, fair as molten gold. Sri Ramakrishna sang again and again the line. Everything is swept away by the onrush of love. And danced with Nilkanta and the other devotees. Those who saw that indescribable dancing were never to forget it. The room was filled with people, all intoxicated with divine joy. It seemed as if Chaitanya himself were dancing with his companions through Sri Ramakrishna. Madan Mohan was in an ecstatic mood. He was a devotee of Sri Ramakrishna and a brother-in-law of Rakha. Several ladies of his family had come with him. They were witnessing the divine music and dancing from North Veranda. That was the custom in those days. Sri Ramakrishna sang again, this time about Gauranga and Nityananda. So Sri Ramakrishna started singing now. Behold, the two brothers have come who weep while chanting Hari's name. The full song we know several times, that even they get beaten and they want to distribute love. He danced with Nilkanta and the other devotees, improvising the line, behold, the two brothers have come, they who are mad with love of Radha. So that is line improvised by Thakur. Hearing the loud music, many people gathered about the room. The veranda to the south and north and the semicircular porch to the west of the room was crowded with people. Even passengers in the boats going along the Ganges were attracted by the kirtan. And all that was honorary. The music was over. Sri Ramakrishna bowed to the Divine Mother and said, Bhagavata Bhakta Bhagavan. That is the scripture, the devotee and God. They are three of one. My salutations to the Jnanis, my salutations to the yogis, my salutations to the bhaktas. That is Thakur honored all the sampradayas. The master was seated on the semicircular porch with Nilkanta, another position, and the other devotees. The autumn moon flooded all the quarters, so it has become night now, evening. With light, Sri Ramakrishna and Nilkanta talked. Nilkanta, you are none other than Gauranga. Master, why should you say such a thing? I am the servant of all. As a person, Thakur did not want to take up any high position. As God, that is different. As a person, he is very humble. Because this is God in all. The waves belong to the Ganges, but does the Ganges belong to the waves? That is Shankaracharya's example. Nilkanta, you may say whatever you like, but we regard you as Gauranga himself. So his faith is not shaken. Master, tenderly, in an ecstatic mood, that faith of his has sent Thakur in an ecstatic mood. My dear sir, I try to seek my I, but I do not find it. So there is no I in him, and that is why he appears like Gauranga. Hanuman said, O Rama, sometimes I think that you are the whole and I am a part, and sometimes that you are the master and I am your servant. But when I have the knowledge of reality, I see that you are I and I am you. So, three states according to the state of the mind. If body conscious, I am the servant. If Jiva conscious, I am the part. If identity, then you are I and same. Atma conscious. Nilkant, what shall I say, sir? Please be gracious to us. Master smiling. You are ferrying many people across the oceans of the world. How many hearts are illumined by hearing your music? Nilkant. You talk of ferrying, but bless me that I may not be drowned in the ocean myself. Master smiling. If you get drowned, it will be in the sea of immortality. Drowned in the sea of immortality. Sri Ramakrishna was delighted with Nilkanta's company. He said to the musician, for you to have come here, you whom people see as a result of many austerities and prayers, listen to a song. The master sang a song, 2 lines of which ran, when the blissful mother comes to my house, how much of the Chandi shall I hear? How many monks will come here? And how many yogis with matted lock? So because Thakur has God in him, so you have come. That is the message. He said, continuing, as long as the Divine Mother has come here, means in Thakur's body. Many yogis with matted locks will come up too. So all the spiritual people will gather there. Sri Ramakrishna laughed too. To M. Baburam and the other devotees, they said, I feel very much like laughing. Just fancy, I am singing for these musicians. They are singers. Thakur is singing to them. Hey, the beautiful childlike simplicity. Nilkant, we go about singing, but today we have had our true reward. Because we heard your singing. Master smiling. When a shopkeeper sells an article, he sometimes gives a little extra something to the buyer. You sang at Naveen's house and I have given the extra something here. That means it is not totally free. You have sang there and got money there, and that extra something you have given here. So we had a beautiful conversations with a devotee who sings very well and Thakur who sings superlatively. So now we pass on to Saturday, October 11, 1884. So after a long time, this 5th October has ended. Sri Ramakrishna lay on the small coach in his room. Heading is Chapter 31, Advice to Ishan. Bengali, Shashta Parichet, page 633, Shashta Parichet. Advice to Ishan. Sri Ramakrishna lay on this small couch in his room at Dakshineshwar Temple Garden. It was about 2 in the afternoon. M and Priya Mukherjee were sitting on the floor. M had left his school at 1 o'clock and had just arrived at Dakshineshwar. The master was telling anecdotes about the calculating nature of the wealthy Jadu Malik. Master, once I went to Jadu Malik's house. He asked right away, how much is the carriage hire? Someone told him it was 3 rupees and 2 annas. Then he questioned me about it. Next, one of his people secretly asked the coachman, who said it was 3 rupees and 4 annas. All laughed. That means they thought Sri Ramakrishna is not telling correctly. So the coachman will tell less, but he has told more. At that he ran to us and said, how much did you say the carriage hire was? So that is his miserliness. A broker was present. He said to Jadu, there is a plot of land at Barabazar for sale. Will you buy it? Jadu asked the price and the broker told him. Jadu said, won't he give it for less? I said to Jadu, come, you aren't going to buy the land. You are only bargaining. Isn't that so? He turned to me and laughed. Thakur had caught him correctly. They like to talk of money and be in the books of the brokers. That is the nature of the worldly man. He wants people to come to him. That spreads his name in the market. So he keeps up. Jadu went to other's house. I told him it had made other very happy. He said, what? Was he really happy? A certain Malik came to Jadu's house. He was very clever and deceitful. I saw it in his eyes. I looked at him and said, it isn't good to be clever. The crow is very clever, but it eats others' health. You know, those who think that they're very clever generally have bad enjoyments. Generally. I could tell he was badly off. Jadu's mother was amazed and said to me, how did you know he hadn't a penny? I saw it from his appearance. So Thakur can understand everything. You tell or not tell. Narayan entered the room and sat on the floor. Master to Priyanath, well, your Hari is a fine young man. Priyanath, what is so fine about him? Of course, he has a childlike nature. Narayan, he addressed his wife as mother. So Narayan knows something about Hari. Master, what? Even I can't do that. And he calls her mother. To Priyanath, you see, the boy is very quiet. His mind is directed to God. Sri Ramakrishna changed the subject of conversation. He did not want to discuss about Hari with Mukherjees. Master, do you know what Hem said? No, this is another person, Hem. Hem. That yogi Hanuman Singh Harman, Hari. Hazra, Hriday my Hem. Rai Bahadur Hemachandrakar, a big man, huh? Thakur is only calling him. Deputy Magistrate, Sri Ramakrishna Bhakta Paltur Pita. There was a child devotee, Paltu, and Paltu's father is Hemchand. Do you know what Hem said? He said to Abraham, God alone is real, all else is illusory. Allah means they think he does not know and he is talking. Oh no, he said it sincerely. Again he told me he would take me to his house and sing kirtan. But he didn't do it. I understand that he said later on, what will people say if I sing with drums and cymbals? He wanted to sing. He was afraid that people might think he was crazy. Otherwise, in presence of Thakur, he was a devotee. Haripada has fallen into the clutches of a woman of the Gospada sect. They think of man and woman as God and devotee. He can't get rid of her. He says that she takes him on her lap and feeds him. She claims that she looks on him as the baby Krishna. I warned him a great many times. She says that she thinks of him as a child. But this maternal affection soon degenerates into something dangerous. You see, you should keep far away from women. Then you may realize God. It is extremely harmful to have much to do with women who have bad motives or to eat food from. We shall take it up tomorrow. On Monday. Tomorrow is Sunday. Om Tava Kathāmritam Tatta Jivanam Kavivireeditam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadasatam Bhuigrunanti Ye Bhuridajana. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.